I've chosen Skips.
Skips was the guy in regular show that you could always go to for help. He was there to help Mordecai and Rigby through pretty much anything, always giving them guidance or wisdom or straight up fighting for them. He was always there to help out anyone that was in trouble. And that's what you could initially like about him. And he could have just stayed that way. He could have just been this old guy at the park who knew pretty much everything. I've seen this before. He could have helped in so many situations and just remained stagnant. That could have been his role. But one of my favorite aspects of regular show is how they slowly spoon feed you little bits and pieces of his lore that when you slowly uncover his story and eventually get all the way to his origin episode, it just feels so amazing to learn everything about that character, but also so tragic and bittersweet when you learn everything that's happened to him and what it took to become the man he is today. Which is why today I'm going to be diving into Skips' lore, his origin story, and his overall importance to the show. And if you like videos just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. At 30,000 subscribers, I'm going to be cosplaying as Muscle Man and doing a hot dog eating contest. And if you want a place where you could talk about your favorite cartoons, movies, and games, give me video ideas, or just share your thoughts in general, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's talk about the lore of Skips. Now, before we get into the episodes that are mainly focused on the lore of Skips, I want to just tackle the aspect of trust, and that's what they were initially building when they first introduced Skips into the series, because there were just a bunch of episodes where Skips was just there to help Mordecai and Rigby with whatever chaos they had caused, and just slowly build him up as a character that you could trust, a character that you could enjoy, and a character that just enhances every single episode that he is in. And one of the first times that Skips ever truly does this is in the episode Just Set Up the Chairs, and one of my favorite parts of this is Mordecai and Rigby are just, you know, goofing off, playing a bunch of arcade machines. Whoa, 10 in a row!
Oh, 10 in a row!
Just, you know, having a good time, and they see the Destroyer of Worlds. They take a little look at a note in there, and it says, "In the name of all that is holy, don't connect the red wire to the blue wire."
In the name of all that is holy, don't connect the red wire to the blue wire? I don't think we should do this.
And of course, Mordecai and Rigby do this anyway. It releases the Destroyer of Worlds, who is just now wreaking havoc on the park.
Oh man, we're so dead. Maybe no one will notice. Oh, who unleashed the Destroyer of Worlds? Good show!
I love the Destroyer of Worlds. I think he's a great villain, and I would have loved to see how Skips initially defeated him and trapped him inside of this arcade machine, because they had to find out about him some way. And later on in this episode, Skips sees the Destroyer of Worlds, rushes over there, looks at Mordecai and Rigby, and he was like, "You ignored my note, didn't ya?"
What did you guys do?
What? Nothing.
You ignored my note, didn't you?
Oh no, what note? You mean like a musical note?
You fools! Destroyer of Worlds will kill us all!
Okay. I don't think I have a very good Skips impression, but I'm going to keep trying at it. But either way, Skips was the guy who did this, and this is the first time that they really planted the seed that Skips is going to be the guy to help them out of the majority of situations, or be the guy that they could go to for a bunch of different knowledge. And Skips is the one who knows how to defeat the Destroyer of Worlds, putting all of the arcade machines together, and helping Mordecai and Rigby to defeat him overall. It's just good stuff. I love it. I enjoy it. It just builds that little, you know, initial formula of having Skips be the character that you could go to when you're in a pickle. And then another great example of this, still in season 1, is the episode Rigby's Body, where when Rigby eats a bunch of junk food and he's feeling really sick, he decides the best way to wash it down is with more junk food. His body literally ditches him, just leaving his entire just goopy innards, his soul on the floor, and running away, a husk of Rigby, and just hiding out in the wilderness.
What are you doing?
And Mordecai goes to Skips for help, even though Rigby is pretty okay with this for some odd reason. He goes to Skips, and Skips, of course, is like, yes, I've seen this before. And so Mordecai and Skips are trying to catch him so that they could put Rigby back in the body. This is again just painting Skips as this guy that you could go to for some help, and I enjoy that. And throughout this episode, we get so many great Skips moments, the best of that being when Rigby does eventually want his body back, and this weird bodybuilder guy who worked out too much and also lost his body, he now wants Rigby's body. He wants it so dang bad, and he managed to get in there, putting on a weightlifting singlet, making Rigby honestly look really grotesque with his little flexed muscles, yeah?
No, not pretty cool. You dress me like a loser.
Oh, you don't like weightlifting singlets?
And so Mordecai and Rigby and Skips eventually catch up to this guy. They see him, and he's, not cooperating, so Mordecai is just like, Skips. And Skips, skips on over there, and just goes like this, boom, boom, just shows both of his pecs, and he's just like, we could try this the nice way, but now we do it the Skips way.
We tried it the nice way, now we do it the Skips way.
It's just such a great moment for Skips. It's honestly hilarious. And then just watching this tiny, evil man inside of Rigby just start running away while Skips chases him. It's just really great stuff. Skips was genuinely just there to amplify episodes and be a character that you can trust. And they just continue with this for a very long time. Honestly, throughout the entire series, Skips was always that character that you could go to if you needed some help. But then we get to episodes like Skips versus Technology, which I think is a great look at Skips when he's not able to solve a problem and what that means to him as a person. Skips versus Technology was really the first episode where you get a look at Skips when he can't do anything about it, because the beginning of this episode just highlights that Skips is going around fixing everything. We get a little bit of backstory for Skips here, where he was doing stuff in the Civil War, fixing people up, and then eventually Mordecai and Rigby are having some problems with a computer. Skips has no idea how to fix this, he even makes it worse, but Skips is the kind of guy that will not let this go, even though initially he wanted to destroy the computer because he viewed it as absolutely evil.
We gotta destroy this!
But seeing that it meant a lot to Mordecai and Rigby, instead of just being like, oh, I'm a failure, he decided to go to the library, check out a book, and try to learn everything about computers so that he could help them. In the end, it still wasn't enough, but at least he was a guy that was willing to try. That's what's so admirable about Skips. He was always willing to try, even though it's not in his comfort zone. He even goes to this little computer store so that they could teach him how to use a computer and how to fix this virus, and that's when we learn about his old buddy, Tecmo. Samson, a guy that he fixed his arm of, a old friend of Skips, and they go back to the house because Tecmo is apparently on call there, and Tecmo does his thing, elevate keyboard! And he eventually has to go inside of the computer to confront the virus, which is revealed to be the Doomageddon virus. Yeah, so now Tecmo gets his body taken over, Doomageddon enters the real world, and this is where we get Skips versus the Doomageddon virus. One of the best fights in the series. It may not be visually the best, but I still think it's very enjoyable, with Skips having to tell Mordecai and Rigby to get on the computer to load up a bunch of pop-ups, because that was the one thing that he learned about, so that it could slow the Doomageddon virus in time for Skips to smash the computer. It's a great episode with a very wholesome ending, where Mordecai and Rigby are just thanking Skips for every single thing that he does in the park, and how much they appreciate him.
Thanks, Skips, for all your help around the park. We all really appreciate you, Mordo and Riggs. Thanks, fellas.
I just enjoy it. It's a wholesome ending. I'm glad that everybody appreciates Skips for everything he does, and this is one of the greatest episodes to highlight just how good of a character Skips is, because even when he's not in his comfort zone, he is willing to try to figure it out and help his friends no matter the cost. And then it was always kind of weird to me because literally 4 episodes later, there was the episode Video Game Wizards, and Skips is a character who genuinely does not know how to use any technology. He was literally panicking at the sight of a computer having pop-ups appear, so for him to go from that to about 3 episodes later being the god of video games, being so good that he could go with Mordecai to a video game tournament and just beat everybody. And I know that's not the main portion of the episode. The main portion of the episode is why not do friends, not pick their friends to enter a video game competition with them when they know that they want to be in it.
Do friends not pick their friends to enter a video game competition with them when they know that they would want to be in it.
That's the main part of the episode, with Rigby, you know, really wanting to play with Mordecai, but I'm still amazed that Skips is just this good at video games that he could just smash through a tournament, and Mordecai and Rigby probably would have won with ease. And even when Skips, you know, this crazy moment in the episode when Mordecai realizes that he needs to play with Rigby because that's what it's all about, Skips is all like, okay, I'm backing out. The ref's all like, why? And he's like, my hands hurt. And God, it's just so wild. Why does he do it? And the ref is all like, I don't see anything wrong with your hand. And Skips just punches a like hole in this metal thing, and then all of his fingers are just broken when it comes out.
My friend hurt his hand. He can't play.
His hand looks fine to me.
Wanna check again?
That was a little bit over the top, man. But hey, he's willing to give it up so that Mordecai and Rigby could be best pals and win the maximum glove. Skips is just a great, phenomenal character, even if it doesn't make sense how he's really good at video games but can't even remotely understand a computer. I guess those things are very different when you're talking about like an arcade machine, but still, very weird stuff. And just one more episode that I want to highlight before we truly dive into the lore of Skips is the episode Skip Stress. A great episode that again highlights just how much Skips truly does for the park, a man that is willing to just go to great lengths to make sure that everything is done around here, so much so that it begins to eat away at him. Literal stress is forming onto his body in this like black sludge that is slowly crawling up his body and slowly killing him. Just this one scene where Skips is told that he needs to take it easy, but he comes to work anyway in this coat, trying to hide his stress from everybody, and that is when the stress just comes up, passes through his heart, and Skips passes out.
The ice cream.
This one scene is very tense and honestly really horrifying, and then just coupled with the fact that that night Skips has a horrifying dream that just is the amalgamation of all his stress about how he has to ring the bell and he sees all of his friends as horrifying nightmares.
Strength, bro. Ring the bell, Skips. Ring the bell.
Yeah, it's a very interesting episode, but the final battle at the end is just all worth it. It makes the episode just what it is. With Skips ringing the bell, Rigby messes it up and makes sure that everybody doesn't cover their ears, which makes them all form this one giant stress monster that they have to battle in a very epic fight. And yeah, it's just good stuff. The fight is amazing. And at the end, everybody tells Skips to take it easy and they all go to change the tire, letting Skips just take it easy just for a moment.
I'll take care of it.
All of these episodes truly do highlight Skip's importance to the series, always being a character that you could go to for help, and that could have been enough for his character, that could have been enough to cement him as one of the best of regular show, but just the way that they skyrocket everything about Skips by adding in little bits and pieces of his lore is what makes his character truly special and one of the best that regular show has to offer. Now, one of the best aspects of Skips' lore in the show is the fact that they don't just shove it down your throat. It's a slow build to learning everything about Skips, which makes it really enjoyable, because some shows, they just tell you every single thing about a character, or just give you one big sentence that basically explains everything. Regular show didn't do that. You just slowly learn little bits and pieces that make it all the more satisfying when you eventually get to his origin story 5 seasons later. And the first time we get to learn a little bit about Skips is in the episode Free Cake, which isn't even really about his lore. It's more about getting that free cake, and Rigby is just being a demon from hell this episode. He sees Skips doing this important ritual around a fire, just shaking a little maraca.
What's Skips doing?
And, you know, Mordecai even says that, you know, Skips doesn't want to be around anybody for his birthday. He's doing this weird looking ritual. It could be important. Rigby does not care, runs up to Skips, grabs his leg, regardless of any situation around him. And that's when Gary shows up because Skips was unable to complete the ritual and takes him to the guardian baby guys.
Maybe we should leave him alone. Rigby!
You're coming with us, Skips.
What are you doing? Fools!
Who start to decay Skips, literally reducing him to ash and killing Skips, and the only reason he is saved is because Mordecai and Rigby give them some ooey gooey chocolate cake and they just rub it all over their baby bodies.
Mordecai, what are you doing?
Dude, do you want Skips to die on his birthday?
All right.
But this was the first episode that we get to learn that Skips is actually immortal. We don't know why, we don't know how. But we know that Skips is immortal, and he is going to live forever. It's a very interesting plot point. It's something that you don't really expect, but you're all for, because it's so random, especially in regular show, to just randomly say that this one character is immortal and not explain why, but it adds depth to Skip's character, even if I think this episode is probably retconned a little bit, because I don't understand why the babies would kill Skips. That doesn't benefit them all at all, especially with their situation with Clorgbane, so doesn't really make sense story-wise, but still a very good episode in Skips' lore, just to get the ground basis of it all. And then we go to the episode Over the Top, which doesn't really focus on Skips' lore as much, any of his story, but focuses on the fact that Skips has been alive for so long, and Death desperately wants his soul. In this episode, Rigby is pranking Skips, and driving Skips mad because he's using Playco Arm Boy to beat Skips in arm wrestling.
Gonna be hilarious. Okay, ready, go. Haters gonna hate.
And Skips cannot handle this, so much so that he picks Rigby up off the ground, slams him through the table, and kills Rigby. Yeah, he decimates him. He lays so much waste to him through this table that Rigby dies.
I'm sorry, Rigby. I'll make it up to you.
Yeah, it's really funny, honestly, but then this leads to Death showing up to challenge Skips to a arm wrestling match, and if Skips loses, his soul is going to go with Death, and if Death loses, he'll give Rigby back. I enjoy this a lot because it doesn't really give anything about who Skips is, but it really does showcase how long Skips has been alive and how badly Death wants his soul, because it's just important. I mean, he's Death, he doesn't really like that a guy is immortal probably, and it leads to one of the ultimate clashes in the series. This arm wrestling match is visually epic, it's story-wise really epic, and it paints Death as a really cool character as well, and it's just a great little piece of Skips' overall story that I enjoy a lot. Cut to the episode Skip Strikes. This is the first episode where we truly get to learn a little bit of lore about Skips other than him being immortal, and he has this secret, this smelly little secret that smells oh so smelly. And Death has this secret about Skips that is so bad that he does not want to tell any of his friends.
What are you talking about?
You know that I know that you've been lying to them for a long time. We wouldn't want our little secret to come out now, would we?
So Skips runs away, leaving his friends to do this bowling tournament without Skips. And this wouldn't really be that much of a big deal if Rigby didn't bet their souls on a soul ball. Yeah, if they lose, they're going to all die, and Rigby gets a soul ball if they win because he really likes balls and he needs balls really bad.
Your team's souls for these souls.
Whoa, soul ball. I could rub that in so many people's faces. Deal.
You bet our souls for a ball?
So yeah, that's basically the premise for the episode. Everybody is just sad the entire time. They're all just so sad because they think they're going to die, but Skips comes back at the end because he realizes how important his friends are and is able to save the day and win the bowling tournament. And that's when Skips reveals that his name used to be Walks. Not the craziest secret in all of regular show, but it was still pretty surprising. As a kid, I found it extremely underwhelming that they spent 11 minutes saying that it was a crazy secret, and then it was just, he used to be named Walks, and that's pretty much it. But hey, I'll take anything. It's progressing Skips' story, and I do enjoy the fact that they're not just explaining everything right away. To one of the most lore-heavy episodes for Skips, Fists of Justice. In this episode, Mordecai and Rigby are tasked with completing all of Skips' work for the day because Skips cashes in his birthday coupon that he got for his birthday, and he says if they don't complete all of his work, the entire fate of the world is at risk. We don't know why, but Mordecai and Rigby don't even seem to believe them. They just think Skips wants to be lazy today, even though he's the guy that will literally fix anything for them. They don't believe him, which was really weird to me, but Mordecai and Rigby do it anyway, and they eventually start to struggle to move Pops' harpsichord. Piano, I'm just going to call it a piano. It's a piano. I don't care what you say it is. They're struggling to move his piano, and so they're all like, we know you're home, Skips. Pick up the phone, Skips. We know you're home, Skips. Pick up the phone, Skips. So Skips, even though he's meditating and preparing, he comes right over to help them, and that is when Rigby sees that it's stuck on this little thing, and they break all of Skips' fingers in his hand.
Thing. Man, I'm sorry, Skips.
Oh,
Skips, are you all right?
this is bad.
This is very bad, because that's when Gary shows up to take Skips to fight Clorgbane. And Skips goes up there. Klorgmane shows up after completing his 200-year revolution around the universe to come back to fight Skips and kill all of the babies. He is immediately pretty menacing. He starts to fight Skips. Skips has the Fist of Justice and just lays waste to Skips. He even kills poor Archibald. Archibald dies to Klorgmane.
And as soon as you finish that diaper sandwich, I'm gonna make you wear it like a cape!
And so now it's up to Mordecai and Rigby to take on the Fist of Justice and fight Klorgmane. With the advice of Skips, they're able to basically kick Klorgmane's ass. Klorgmane literally gets no offense in. He's training for 200 years. Well, not trading, just floating, but he had 200 years to think about how he was going to do this, and then he just gets absolutely destroyed by two casuals who had never used the Fist of Justice before. But either way, Klorgmane is gone, and we learned that that was what Skips had to do, and that is his reason for being a mortal, is to fight Klorgmane every 200 years when Klorgmane comes back. Very interesting. This was the most lore that we ever got for Skips at the time, but we still don't know anything about Skips's origins. They finally ask Skips the question, how did he become immortal? And that's when Skips dives into the story of when he was in high school. And this is where we get to see Skips, a kind of broken man who always fights bullies, who has been expelled from so many different schools, starting fresh at a brand new school. And this is when he walks out, he meets Gary. Gary shows him the babies. They all seem to be having a great time until Skips meets Klorgmane. Just the head bully at the school, just being an absolute asshole, and Skips stands up for everybody, pushes Klorgmane, and is the only person that is willing to stand up to this absolute menace.
Leave them alone, or what? Walks? Huh? Or what? Huh?
They are stopped from fighting, but this is just the beginning of the beef between Skips and Klorgmane. So Skips walks away, he goes to the cafeteria, he's looking for some lunch, and that is when he meets Desdemona, the first woman and only woman that he would ever love.
There's a spot right here. You're welcome to dine with me if you wish. Do you wish to dine with me?
I really like their first interaction a lot, where it's just Mona being all like, you could sit with me if you like, and Skips is just staring at her, just, I was going to say menacingly, but just, I guess, longingly. He just can't believe this woman that he's laying his eyes on, and we actually get to see this bond form. It feels like a genuine connection that they have, and that is until Gary and the babies walk over and show Skips the Fist of Justice, saying that that is the only way that he would be able to fight Klorgmane. Mona immediately gets up, walks away, and Skips is just bewildered by this because he thought that they were forming connections. He chases after her, and that is when Mona says she does not like fighting. This is a key part of this episode. Mona does not like to fight. So that means Skips has to turn off this thing, that this desire inside of him to fight people, to stand up to bullies if he wants to be with Mona. And Mona is willing to drop the fact that Skips was just talking about fighting to get to know Skips a little bit more. So Skips starts going around, hanging out with Mona, helping out with the prom, and eventually asks her out on a date. And there is this great scene where Klorgmane comes to fight Skips, and Skips is able to, put up his sleeves and not fight Klorgmane just because of how much he actually is beginning to care about Mona.
Klorgmane, you're not worth it. I won't fight you. What? I said I won't fight you.
It's a great scene, and it shows that Skips is willing to change for this woman. It's just good stuff. So then we get this montage of Klorgmane building a weapon, while the babies are also building the Fist of Justice, and Skips and Mona are just skipping around, skipping everywhere, forming a genuine connection. It's just good stuff.
And we skipped.
All right, we've skipped around the school 3 times now, and I'm starting to cramp up.
Ah, come on. One more loop.
It feels like one of the most wholesome relationships in all of regular show because it feels real. You get to actually watch them bond and connect in just 22 minutes, but in those 22 minutes, they do so much with the relationship. We get this great scene where Skips asks Mona to prom, and they truly seem to be in love. It seems like a great, wholesome relationship, and at the same time, Gary mentions to Skips that they are going to have to fight Klorgmane at some point. They have finished the Fist of Justice, and it is almost time, so they schedule the fight for prom. At the same time that Skips is supposed to take Mona to prom, and they all just figure, okay, it's going to work out some way. Skips can go to the bathroom or something. It's going to work out. Does it work out? No. It ends so horribly. And one of the most tragic parts of this episode is when Skips goes to pick up Mona at her parents' house. And we get to see how much her parents genuinely care about her. It's just like, oh, take care of her. That's our little girl. Please don't let anything happen to her. I hope it goes well. It seems like they have a really good family bond.
Take good care of her tonight. Don't forget she's someone's little girl.
Don't mind him. Tonight is going to be perfect.
And it's just so tragic what happens is this scene is just added in to make it hurt so much more with what happens at the end of this episode. You have Skips and Mona going to prom. Skips is really worried the entire time because obviously he has to find a way to sneak off and fight Chloribane, but that is when Mona hears Forever Young. They go and they start dancing, and this is one of the worst parts of the episode because it's their first and last dance together. When you put it in hindsight, that is just so tragic that the first time Skips ever got to dance with her in this amazing moment that is just supposed to be two of them, it was also the last time he would ever get to do that. Can you imagine when this race is won? Turn our golden faces into the sun. Praising our leaders, we're getting into the music's played by the madman. They're dancing, having a great time. Chloribane gets sick of waiting, enters the prom, goes to attack, and starts laying waste to everybody. Mona gets pushed to the side, says that it's okay for Skips to fight him, and Skips doesn't have the fist of justice, so he's trying his best, but he's just getting absolutely pummeled. And that is when Chloribane grabs his weapon. He's about to use it on Skips to kill him and put him down for good. And that is when Mona runs to Skips' aid, pushes Skips out of the way, and debris falls off the ceiling from the weapon that Chloribane was using, falls onto Mona, and Mona dies.
A long time for this.
His fists of justice go flying at Skips. He puts them on and just starts laying waste to Chloribane, gives a great speech and uppercuts him into space, getting rid of Chloribane for 200 years.
No more. Agreed. No more. No more fear. No more bullying. No more Chloribane.
They go to check on Mona, and she genuinely did not make it, and it's just so sad. What a crazy origin story. I think it was one of the best that they delivered in regular show. It just has so much impact to Skips' character, and it just puts an entire new perspective on everything that Skips is, the man that he has become, why he is always skipping. You could genuinely understand, because initially when you have this character whose name is Skips and all he does is skips, you would think that that's just a gimmick. Oh, they named him Skips, so all he does is skip. That's probably all he is. But this episode genuinely made him so much more than that, and the reason that he is Skips, the reason that he became the person that he is truly just wrought with sadness and loss, and it's so tragic. You go into the future a little bit, about 20 years later, and the babies mention to Skips that Chloribane will return, and so they ask him to become immortal so that Chloribane can be fought in 200 years. And Skips, of course, says yes. They ask him the name that he wants to be reborn unto, because at this time his name was Walks. He just has one moment where he reflects on all of his time with Mona, the only woman that he ever loved, and he decides to be renamed Skips.
I've chosen Skips.
And that is Skips' origin story. That is Skips' lore. And for the rest of the series, he's just that helpful guy that was always there to do anything, a really helpful, important member of the park. But man, did he have such a tragic, impactful, and brilliant origin story. Skips truly has such an important role in regular show, from being the person that you could trust, a person that is always there to help, to having such an amazing lore that is so tragic and so sad, but helps make him the person that he inevitably becomes, which is so important to his overall character. It's all amazing stuff, it's all amazing writing. But one of the also worst things about Skips as a person is the fact that he is going to outlive everybody that he loves. One of my least favorite images to look at sometimes is just this one image where it shows Skips hanging out with everybody, having a good time on this hill, and then it just cuts to this sadder image where it's Skips sitting on that same hill, and it's just 7 gravestones laid right beside him. It's one of the saddest aspects of his character, with how good of a person he is, with how much he is willing to do for the people around him. He is always going to end up alone. And it's just honestly so tragic. But even with that, Skips is such an important part of regular show, and I wouldn't make his story any different. It was just written so perfectly, and that is why we love Skips and appreciate how impactful his lore is to regular show.